Welcome to Comedy and More. I'm Richie Gold, your host, and we got a great show for you tonight. We got high fashion models, we got headlining comedians, we got international stars. Ladies and gentlemen, you comedy connoisseurs, are you ready? I want to start off now with a high fashion model. She's been all over. How about a nice hand for the high fashion model of Johnny Rizzo? Ladies and gentlemen.
I used to have your poster on my wall as a kid.
Did you? Next to the Pharaoh?
Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, the high fashion model, Ellen Steinbeck, who is also a stand-up comedian.
Hey.
Just a stand-up comedian, not a high fashion model.
And it's Ella.
It's Ella, yes.
But you started off in fashion.
No.
Well, how did you start off? How'd you get into the business?
I got into comedy, it's a long story. I started out as a pig farmer.
Pig farmer?
Pig farmer.
Pig farming in Illinois.
I was going to say, it wasn't in Israel.
Who books that?
No. Yeah, who books that, please? I was in charge of farrowing and breeding and gestation, but
You bred the pigs.
I bred the pigs.
You mean like pig husbandry?
Look, I don't want to age myself,
Yeah.
but this was before artificial insemination, okay? I hope that's not aging me.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was pre-AI.
There was no contraceptives involved.
No contraceptive. I had to, so what happens is a boar, will actually beat up the female if he doesn't get it in the right spot.
Wow.
Yeah, so I would have to direct him to make sure he could plant his seed. And
How were there pigs before you?
I know, it's pretty amazing, right?
How did
I was
you
like,
go about directing, though? I mean,
no, you move them around. You physically move them around
they must know
and
what to
pull and guide.
Yeah, but I mean, instinctively, they must know.
No,
what
they
to
just start poking it out. So you have to make sure they're poking it out in a spot that breeds pigs.
Porkers poking.
Yes.
It's almost like they're nearsighted, huh?
I don't know what they are, honestly. They're contact breeders, supposedly, and but you want to make sure they have contact.
And do you have any material on this? Or?
I've tried, but I think the problem is the audience doesn't believe that I used to work on a pig farm, so they think I'm messing with them. But it's like, no, I really worked on a pig farm. But see, can I tell you kind of a dirty pig story?
Listen to this.
Okay.
I have plenty of those.
We
Not on
don't
a farm.
have a dirty
I got it
pig
from the
story.
road.
You know?
Exactly.
It's not even like an analogy for men. It's truly pigs. No, I swear to God, on my 18th birthday, I was working, and I had to do my breeding, and I went down there you literally had to pull on. Can I say sack? Pull on their sack to guide them in, because you don't want to touch their.
Well, it's not their backpack.
Thing, right?
Scrotum, I believe, is scientific.
So I did that, and he missed, and he shot it right in my eye. I'm not kidding. 18th birthday, shot right in my eye.
I hope the kids have gone to bed at this point.
It's the last time I get a
I'm
birthday
working in the
facial.
area this weekend.
It doesn't sound very kosher to me.
It was not kosher, and I'm married to a Jewish guy now, so you can just imagine that.
Don't tell his rabbi you used to breed pigs. Wow.
So Steven Scott.
Yes, sir. I was also a fashion model at one time in my day. No.
I can tell by that watch.
Yes, you like that? Stands out. I can always find my watch.
It's very
I just don't know what
nouveau
time it is.
riche.
Yes, thank you.
And I don't even know why I said that word because I've never used it before.
Did you say nouveau riche?
Nouveau riche.
Yeah.
you
That's a soup, ain't it?
It's something like that. It's a French soup.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a new rap band. I think. It's from Europe, yeah.
So Steve, how did you get into the business?
How did I get into a big fat kick in the butt is basically it. I like to say I get paid now to do the same stuff that used to get me punished when I was a kid. It's
That's
like,
true.
you're not going to amount to anything behaving that way. It's like, wrong. So, yeah, I got a shot to, someone said, all the goofy stuff, I did voices and whatnot, and they said, go on stage, and finally when a comedian said it to me, and he said, you know what, you really should take this on stage. I listened. I went and did my first show, which would have been a make or breaker, and it went well, and that first show, believe it or not, this is rare, was my demo reel. And that got me other work.
Wow.
And that was 20 years ago, and I'm still doing this.
Look
So
at you.
go figure.
That's amazing.
So basically,
Big
you
mistake.
Show off.
do all types of material. Stuff about politics, I understand.
I don't. Well, I'm not a political comic, and I find too, and you guys may agree with this. You got to be careful with politics because you're going to alienate half your audience right out of the gate.
Right.
So if I talk about politics and it is an election year, I talk about it from a pop cultural standpoint. Like for me, I'll talk about the fact like this election is like a giant reality show. It's an 18-month
Yes,
reality
it
show
is.
is what it is, okay? With the millions of dollars and the primaries and all this, and millions of dollars that could feed the homeless for years are being wasted because Rand Paul had to run for president, and Carly Fiorina, people who aren't going to win, So I thought we should revolutionize, just make it an actual reality show,
Right, right.
And at the end of the show, you don't have to schlep to the polls and deal with dimpled chads. No, you text your vote to AT&T.Trump or AT&T.Clinton.
Yes.
It would be easier. And the way to keep the show entertaining is the best part is when the candidates come out and give a speech.
Yeah.
When they're done, they have to get critiqued by the celebrity judges.
Well, let me hear you do it.
Well, that's what. Yeah, so if you have I don't know, Bernie Sanders could come out.
Let's
Yeah,
hear
like,
it.
I, Bernie Sanders, when I'm president of the United States, I've got to pass a law that says kids cannot play on my lawn. I am sick and tired of these kids playing on my lawn. Vote Bernie Sanders 2016, right?
And then you have Simon Cowell like, sorry, that was absolutely dreadful with a capital D. I'd rather look at Randy Jackson naked than listen to you speak again. Sorry, And you can get all the reality show judges, like who's the guy from Project Runway, Tim Gunn, going, let's make it work, people, Who'd be great is Howard Stern from America's Got Talent.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Hillary Clinton could come out and be like, let me tell you something. You got like the hottest body. What do you like, a C cup? Let me tell you, if I wasn't married to a husband woman, I would totally do you. I swear to God. Like, right, Robin? But the best one, and the only person who qualifies as a reality show judge and as a candidate for office would be Donald Trump. He could debate himself. He'd be like,
Let me tell you something, folks. I've been in this game a long time, okay? I've seen plenty of candidates come and go. These people are a bunch of losers. Their campaigns are a disaster. Nobody knows what they're doing. You vote for me, we're going to build a wall, okay? Your mother's going to pay for it. It's going to be 32 million square feet, which is huge, okay? It's going to have a casino, 2 hotels. It's going to be called the Great Wall of Trump. So vote for me or you're fired.
and that sort of a
Very
thing.
good.
I think
Good,
is
that's
Very
very
good.
good, very good, huh?
Johnny Rizzo.
That's right on, man.
I got the Rizzo seal of approval.
Yeah, you
But
got
that'd be a
his-
great show, wouldn't it? I would totally watch it. It'd be so much better than the nonsense we're dealing
I
with
think
now.
that's what we are
Fantastic
watching.
show.
Yeah,
though.
it's just, I wish it was shorter. I wish it was like 12
That was an
weeks.
hour long on
Take the
Tuesdays.
cats 13 weeks in a house in the Hollywood Hills, for 13 weeks with cameras everywhere. Make them do tests, eat worms, make out like these other shows. Throw a Kardashian or two in for good ratings.
Totally.
Let Ryan Seacrest host it. Call it Presidential Idol or Last Candidate Standing, I suppose, or The Voice Political Edition. Any one of those would be catchy, and that would be something I think people would watch, and then it would be done with. And yeah,
I
I
think
kind
Johnny
of.
would be great on that show.
I think you
Yeah,
would be
what would
great.
I
I think
do?
you'd be great running for president, frankly.
Yeah,
You should
Johnny?
run for
Oh,
president.
yeah, that's all.
I'll tell you, Johnny, I got to realize one thing. I came to the realization that prior to stand-up comedy, you had a plethora of careers. You were a carny guy.
Yeah, that's,
Wow.
yeah.
Believe
That's,
that?
that's a lifestyle that's disappeared.
That's a whole other Twilight Zone.
I feel so normal between the pig farming, pig servicing, and carny. I'm like, I grew up in the suburbs.
Oh, Oh, yeah.
Tell us about that, Johnny. I'm interested.
Well, actually, to me, the carnival before the carnival, the circus itself is really the birthplace of American entertainment.
Right.
Before there was television or radio, it was the traveling shows and circuses.
Right.
So to me, P.T. Barnum, who was the mayor of my hometown, Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Ah,
Oh, really?
And he's buried there. He discovered Tom Thumb, the dwarf there.
right.
Made fortune with him. They both made fortunes.
Yeah.
And a lot of circus performers in history are buried there, and I'm very into it. Plus, growing up with it, I find Barnum to be the grandfather of show business. I think we're all standing on the shoulders of PT. Everything, this carpet, that camera, well, maybe not this carpet, but everything in entertainment is built on the principle of this man, who, they called him the king of paper. I'm sorry, that was Houdini, but because of plastering giant billboard signs. And
Sucker born every minute?
Sucker born every minute, which is something he did not say, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a lot of mythology.
I think Trump said that.
And Johnny, you are noted for being Connecticut's #1 comedian. #1
Me?
rated. Yeah.
When
you.
did this happen?
Oh, I tell you. That's the
No one
word.
tells me nothing.
No, he was #1. In fact, do some material that really helped you get to that status, like
Well,
family material. Well, tell us something.
Well, basically, I grew up in a home where my mother had no teeth, and
Are we allowed to laugh? I don't know.
she had no teeth and a poor sense of vocabulary, and my father had no vocabulary, all laced with obscenities. So I referred to them as toothless and coofless. And they were Italian and Irish, which means I get drunk and I break my own legs. And just looking at your family there's so much sources, but not just the family, but the neighborhood too that you come from. There's a lot.
Well, it's an Italian neighborhood.
Italian neighborhood. I mean, there's so much garlic in my house. Vampires were dropping dead on the lawn. It was bad. But my grandmother never spoke English either.
Yeah.
And she, the Italian grandmother with the rosary,
Yeah.
Oh my God, what are you doing? Everything was like working on my skin yarmulke. I got hit in the head with a divot. But it's all source.
And
It's
you
all source.
parlayed that into a regular, full career in comedy. All the humor from your childhood and even in the Carney, you transferred that into being a full-fledged stand-up comic, #1 in Connecticut.
Absolutely not. No, yeah.
Hey, I do the jokes. So you
No,
Very
yeah,
good.
I did. I parlayed it. Yeah, life is a parlay, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
sure
now I'm
is.
doing art, so
Very good.
that came out of something else.
Ella,
Yeah.
what was your motivation to get into?
To get into stand-up?
Yeah, to get into
Oh,
stand-up.
okay. Yeah, it wasn't pig farming. I would.
That's a whole other thing.
Yeah, I was a hairstylist for many years out in
Shocker.
Vegas. Yeah, does it look all right? And then I was in a long-distance relationship, moved to New York from Vegas, and I was having joint problems. And it turns out I have like this.
I mean, you couldn't get any marijuana?
Right,
That's
exactly.
what
I know. That's what everyone always says. I
I
just take it for granted but yes, my wrists hurt, shoulders hurt, everything, and I decided to take a comedy writing course, and then I didn't do anything. Like I didn't know anyone doing open mics or whatever, but I really enjoyed the writing process. And then I met some women who were doing open mics, and so I sat through a couple, then tried it out, and then it kind of just stuck, and I've been doing it for about 5 years.
Well, listen, you mentioned you're married.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any marriage material? Something funny. Everybody's got funny stuff about marriage. I mean, I've been married a long time. My wife, before we got married, we dated for a long time. And while we dated, I did everything I could do to make her happy. And after we got married, I would do everything I could do not to piss her off.
Yeah.
You just got to control the marriage somehow. You got to control yourself. How about you?
Well,
Did you have pigs help you have sex?
I
with
did
your- okay.
not. I should have. That's an idea. I'll ask my husband about that. My husband's a lot older than I am. Let's just say he's well into the colonoscopy years.
Oh, okay.
So maybe that's a key. I've always dated older men. I've been dating guys in their 50s since I was 19.
Richie's getting excited.
Oh,
Yeah.
gee, where were you when I needed you?
Right?
Since you were what?
Since I was 19.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but I'm not even talking about like a good-looking, like George Clooney, wealthy, hot kind of 50. I'm talking about like a Benjamin Franklin-looking 50.
Wait, okay.
Wow.
You have any
Wait,
sisters? Because
He was so broke I got in trouble for eating his last piece of cheese.
Wow.
Totally true.
But wait a minute.
In his defense, I was going to college and I did have the meal plan. So, in his defense.
But meanwhile, I want to get into the humor of marriage that you have been infected by.
We have a prenup.
Well, there's nothing funny about that.
Well, wait, let her recite it for you.
Oh, yeah, because the gold diggers have ruined it for everyone
She
recently.
says she gets no
yeah.
cheese.
Now, also, you've done some movies. You've done movies with Martin Scorsese, with Andrew Dice Clay, with Ray Romano. You've been on high fashion magazines.
Well, I wouldn't call it high fashion. Here's the thing about being a comic. You will hustle anything.
Yes.
So whoever will hire me for whatever. I write a humor column for Rockland County Times. I will show up for a casting that you need to be topless, so I ended up on the cover of Time.
I thought you looked familiar.
Yeah. It's the hand. Look, this is my hand. A lot of
Look at
people
that.
think
I know the hand's in the way. I
the
hate
hand.
that.
It's like Playboy now because there's no nipples.
Right,
So,
right.
but like I say to people, I might be running late, but that's okay because my tits are on time.
Very good. Well,
Was that for a campaign?
I mean, this was their breast cancer
Awesome.
issue,
That's
and I was
awesome.
just a spokesboob,
very-
guys. I
very-
did not have breast
very
cancer,
beautiful.
but very interesting article actually
Yeah, it is.
for any
It's
of you breast cancer
Yes,
people
we're,
out
we're,
there.
in, we're in it for the articles. I read it for the articles.
Well, read it. for
sorry to
later.
wake you up.
Oh, that's
Listen,
right.
I understand that you come from a family that also has a lot of background in public
Pig farming.
relations,
No, no.
not pig farm, but news and things
Yeah.
like this. Tell us about
I
that.
have, well, yeah, I have a.
Got to be
two-
some humor there.
Yeah, not on purpose, but yeah. I got a father and a sister, both who are in the news media. My father in New York is the most senior correspondent in New York right now.
Who's
Been,
that?
Marvin Scott.
No
on
kidding.
Channel
Isn't that
11.
awesome?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I love
So I
that.
grew up in the biz, with
yeah.
cameras like this and stuff. And my sister is Jill Urban on New York One.
Wow.
So they do they do the serious stuff. I do the lighter side.
So you've seen the changes in the
Oh,
newsroom and,
big time.
and how it's all done.
I remember when the prompters were on a conveyor belt and the scripts.
Oh my
and,
gosh.
yeah, it's a whole. Now it's all digital. It's totally different. Yeah.
That's so cool.
My dad used to
It's
do
like
news
there's
when-
nothing in a studio anymore.
Oh,
it's all
totally.
streamlined. Like
Totally.
where's the stuff? It's all.
He
in
used
the
to
air.
do back when I was really young. He did where he had the script in his hand. There were no teleprompters. That's
Wow.
He was he goes way back where they had Morse code to do the news. You know.
Isn't that
So
amazing?
now, when you're doing shows, you're going to be performing in Connecticut as well as John
Yeah.
is going to be performing in Connecticut.
I'll be in Connecticut this weekend. You go to my website. I'll be in Naugatuck. There's a show there.
Okay.
So if you go to my website, stevenscott.tv, not .com, because some plumber from Jersey took that. So until he dies, I have the .tv. But I worked it out in therapy, so it's going to be out
So
there.
Steve, let me ask you: you do your regular comedy show. Give them a sample. You want people
What?
to come to see you. Give them a sample.
Oh, well, no, you're asking, it's funny, you're asking about my dad and stuff. You know, people always say, what's it like having a dad as a newscaster? And the worst is if you get in trouble as a kid and you got to get yelled at, if someone's got a real deep broadcaster voice, it puts the fear of God into you.
Yeah.
Especially with my dad, who was king of the scolders. I had a dad who like invent stuff to scold us about. You know, like one time, he actually, some of it didn't make sense. He actually once said this to me, he goes, "Hey, knock it off. You know, when I was your age, I was a lot older than you." And I was like, what? And the worst, I was like, Mom, I think Dad's been drinking. But the worst is if I was so bad, right, that my mom would have to go and call him up at work. You know when moms get fed up to them,
Yeah.
that's it, I'm calling your father. That was big because he was in that newscaster frame of mind.
Yeah.
So whenever I'd get yelled at, I always felt like I was a breaking story. Oh yeah, he'd pick up the phone on that newscaster cadence. He didn't play like, "How's your father? Now your mother just told me what you did. Well, I'll tell you something, mister, you're in a lot of trouble. And you're going to get it when I get home. Tonight at 11.
Very good.
No television for a week. And now back to you, Joan. You know, it's like, oh.
So
That is
Johnny,
unusual,
you
huh?
were influenced by your family and relatives also, right? To get
Yeah.
you. Comedy mostly comes from, our interpersonal relationships and family as well as societal, how we interact with, the people in our neighborhood and who we went to school with. What's some outstanding things that you can, hey, wait a minute. You just reminded me of something. Didn't you have an uncle?
Yeah.
Tell him the story about your uncle. He was an adventurer. This is a crazy. You got to hear this. You can't write this. Tell him.
My uncle was a trader, and he would go to countries like Peru and pick up curios and items for museums and for Barnum's circus and sideshows. And he dealt with the Jibaro Indians of Peru, which are the most dangerous headhunters in the world. And they still actually do it. There's about 6,000 of them left, protected in Peru. They can't even reach them. And you have to bring trinkets to appease them.
Right.
His stuff went washed down river. He arrived with no trinkets, and they cut off his head, and they shrunk his head. And his shrunken head, my great uncle's shrunken head, has now come into my possession through the passing of another relative. And you could see it soon in a documentary I'm working on about it, in a video I'm putting together.
It's real. I saw a picture earlier.
Yeah.
Wait, so how do you shrink the head? What do you put it in the dryer and leave it?
No,
Sort of.
actually, when they cut off the head with a machete, they make an incision from the top of the scalp to the base of the neck, and they pop the skull out. Then they stitch that back up, and they boil that rest down. So it's basically a shrunken head is technically a shrunken face, but in a sideshow it was more appealing if they put shrunken head.
That is some
And
family.
it maintains all the facial features. I'll show you pictures later, but
Unbelievable.
soon I want to.
That's a family.
Yeah.
story. But Ella, let me ask you a question.
I was just thinking
So
of
I
how
have-
important it is to bring a gift.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
if you're visiting
Yes,
someplace, just
lesson
show up
learned.
with something.
And you know what's funny? All you had to do is bring some shiny buttons or
Yeah,
something.
anything.
Anything
Well, look
shiny
what
and
happened in
cool.
America when they sold Manhattan Island
Right.
for $24 to the Indians for trinkets. But you know what the whole scam was? The Indians that sold them the island didn't even own the
that
island.
island, right.
So they got the money for nothing. And
Is that what Indian giver is? Is that why?
I don't
I
know
think
where
most
that
of them you
term.
take it back.
Oh, was that?
Yeah.
Oh, this
That's
is fake.
definitely
This
a-
is giving
oh.
something away. This
Yeah,
is like.
this is selling something that isn't yours.
Oh, right.
That's like a
Yeah.
mafia thing.
This was kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Ella, one thing I noticed about the modeling business, and you can testify this, gorgeous women are on the top magazines, high fashion magazines, beautiful women. Then they have models that work for like Walmart. They tend to be a little different. Like, they have a couple teeth missing, You know, they drool a lot in the pictures. What differentiates a high fashion model from like going to Walmart?
There are ordinary people models, right?
Yeah. I honestly, guys, I don't model.
Like
I mean,
the-
I was on
But you
time,
did
but I
that.
swear to God, I don't.
But there's hand models too, right? Hand models.
Yeah, I have done hand modeling.
There
I've
you
done
go.
that a couple
Let's
times.
see the lovely.
These are,
A lot of New York cab drivers are hand models. Beautiful hair.
no, I swear, I don't really know.
Well.
No, I wanted to model. No one would let me.
Ladies and
so-
gentlemen,
No one would
if
let
you
you.
need
No
a
one let me.
model, here's one. She's done modeling before, but she doesn't know what she's doing. That's why she's so successful. That's
That's
why
what I
models
want.
make
Your
it.
breasts are on
Yeah,
time.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Anyhow,
That's the biggest
how
thing I
about
ever
us doing
did.
a little improv, guys?
Hey, how about that?
Improv.
Oh, you want to do improv?
Okay.
We'll
Just
do
give me
a
a
sitting
script
down.
and I'll be fine.
Okay, we're going to do Ella and me, and then you two can do an improv. Okay, give us a place and a situation, Ella and myself.
Oh,
Bus stop.
Bus stop. And what do we do?
Situation, Superstorm Jonas.
Superstorm Jonas at a bus stop.
Go.
Whoa, you don't look too cold standing here in the middle of the storm.
no, because I wore all my stuff. I have a coat on and a scarf and boots and leg warmers and a sweater. But I'm still cold. I feel you.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, you feel me. Whoa, you better not feel me because
Well, I
you're going
don't
to freeze. You're going to freeze if you do. Whoa.
Okay.
When's this bus coming? It's the number 7 to the Bronx. I hope it gets here soon. I'm going to be an icicle.
Well, you know, maybe you should have worn some more clothes.
Who are you, some
Well,
type
they
of fashion
told you.
designer?
Well, I'm just saying, they told you a storm was coming. Perhaps a scarf would have been a good idea.
The bus is here.
After you.
No, you go. You need it more than mine.
No, you're cold. You go.
Thank you. Tokens okay?
Yeah.
We got one person waiting. Come on.
Nope, I'm going to wait for the next one. I'm super comfy out here.
Move forward. Thank you.
And then
I
you read
love
about it on the
waiting for a
news,
bus.
freezing to death on this park bench.
Now we're gonna
and
give-
scene.
All right.
Now we're going
Ready?
to give you
Here we
two.
go, bro.
Oh, now we're doing one? Oh,
doing
God.
I'll pick the location. You pick the
boy.
situation.
Oy,
Okay.
oy vey. All right,
Okay.
let's see,
You
this
want to do
works
that,
out.
or you want me to do it?
No, I'll
Okay.
think of something.
The location
Maybe.
will be the Sahara Desert.
Sahara Desert.
And what are they doing in the Sahara Desert?
Well, you're homeless.
I'm Jewish. We're wandering. It's what we do. No, I don't.
Sahara Desert and we're homeless? Is
Yeah.
that it?
Homeless in the
Homeless.
Sahara Desert.
Homeless in the Sahara Desert. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you. I was going to do what I did yesterday, today, but I already did that.
Again?
Yeah.
You keep doing that all the time.
Well, I slept under that rock.
What about doing something different today?
Maybe I'll go sleep under that rock over there.
We got
You
to
know?
change it up a little bit. It's very monotonous. We got to find some new things to do to keep
Yeah.
it fresh, you know?
Yeah.
Keep it fresh.
You got any of that fried sand left?
Fried sand. You know, I ate it all.
Oh.
I ate it all. It's my favorite dish. That's all I ever eat. is
We're gonna
sand.
have to go out sooner or later.
Yeah,
and-
where can
and
we go?
ask, you know, do a little begging, you know.
You want, I'm tired of sandwiches.
Yeah.
Sandwiches.
That's the
all we
trouble about
eat.
the desert.
That's all you get are
sandwiches.
all the sandwiches
Sandwiches.
there. All the sandwiches there.
Sandwiches. I'd rather sleep. You
Is
know?
that our bus?
Get on the bus.
and see.
Very good. See that? This is comedy.
I haven't done that in like 20
comedy
years.
and more. That's where the more comes
And
into.
the great thing about it too is like when there was workshops and stuff for comics, by doing this you develop material.
Oh,
and
improv is
stuff.
actually one of the funnest
It's
things I've
so
ever done.
true.
Yeah,
Best
yeah.
training, and I've told this to young comics starting out. When I started
Yeah.
out, I took an improv class at Chicago City Limits at the time in
Oh,
New
yeah,
York,
yeah.
and it is some of the best. Even if you're not in show business,
I agree.
it
Yeah.
sharpened my mind
I
to
agree.
the
Helps you
point,
think
and
on your feet.
I guess I can say I'm proud of this. I ended up auditioning for a show that Dan Patterson was producing. The guy does Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Right,
And it was a sketch show improv version with Wayne Brady. And I ended up getting selected as the only guy from New York, I mean, against all professional improvisers, to go out and test in front of Bernie Brillstein and all the ABC brass. And I was sitting in the scene with Wayne Brady doing improv, and you don't get much more of it. And I was like, wow.
Totally.
So I was grateful to have had that experience back then, because it's like it makes you like a pencil sharpener for your brain. And you don't do it, like I haven't done it in a long time, as we could just see here, but it really is a great tool to really sharpen you up no matter what you do
I
in
want to
life.
see how sharp you're now.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to do your opening line from each one of you when you go on stage. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Johnny Rizzo.
Take a good look because I get uglier as the night goes on.
And you're known as the rubber face man.
That's right. That's what
Because
they
you
call
do
it.
so many different faces and characters.
I've been known to, have a few faces.
Very
But
good.
yeah, the facial comedy and the silly comedy seems to be like dying with Abbott and Costello and Laurel and Hardy. I'd love to see that stuff come
Remember
back.
Silly Putty? I think they made that out of you, man.
Yeah.
Steve,
My opening line is hello. Right now I talk about, I just got back, we did a pilot for the Travel Channel, which was fun, got to travel some exciting places. I learned some interesting things, like for example, if you
Okay.
ever happen to be in an airport,
Right.
filming scenes for a television pilot, and curious people come up to you and like, oh my God, like what are you guys doing? Don't say shooting a pilot. That does not go over well at Newark Liberty International Airport,
Definitely not.
as I found out the hard way after 4 hours in a Port Authority holding cell with 3 guys named Habib. So that was fun. Now I'm on a list, but other than that, it was a good
don't
show.
laugh. That happened to me once on a plane. I'm talking to a person next to me, asked me what I did, said I'm a comedian. Well, how'd you do it? Oh, I did pretty good. Yeah, I'll tell you, I killed. Yeah, you did, you killed, yeah. So the guy sitting in back of me, he's listening to this conversation. He hears, I killed. Then the conversation's going on, and the lady says to me, so do you always kill? I said, no, sometimes I bomb. Guy goes, hey, bomb. All of a sudden, these stewardesses come over, and I said, no, I'm a comedian.
Oh
They
my!
have
And
to
you know
be
the worst
careful.
part?
You
The worst
have to be
part.
careful.
Here's the thing: the guy's name was Jack, and he's like, "Hi, Jack," and then they grabbed him and threw him down. the
Right.
thing.
That's some story.
So
I didn't
careful.
know that.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, at Comedy More Showcase Comedy Club, we have Ella Steinbeck. Woo!
On my 21st birthday, I had my tongue pierced. My mom went nuts, said that I was telling the whole world that I was the type of girl who would do anything. Thank God she didn't ask me how I paid for it.
That's great.
What did your parents think
Speaking of prostitution,
Opening lines
Back
are
to the
so
pigs.
important, aren't they?
about? Oh yeah, because it sets up the whole thing. Your opening is so like my opening line, because the way I sound, I say my opening line. I haven't always been a comedian. At one time, I taught in the New York City school system. I was a speech therapist, and that sets up the whole tone or whatever.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
But now-
I didn't do my opening. I just did a bit that I'm doing now. But opening line, my opening line evolves. It depends on what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's the best is if you have an opening line that has something to do with your name. Like there was a comic I used to work with years ago. His name was John Bush, and you come out as, "Hi, my name is John Bush. Those are 2 people who see you pissed. Thank you very much." You know, it was just like right off the gate, you have something. You know,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'll just whatever's going on. I have different opening lines, but I didn't realize we were doing the actual.
You totally cheated. That's not fair.
I cheated. I did it bad. I'm sorry. I did say back in the day,
God.
like years ago when Jennifer Lopez changed her name to J-Lo, I'd say, "Hi, everybody. My name is Steven Scott, but in spirit of Jennifer Lopez, you can just call me Esco." And that lasted me about a good year. And then
Right.
So it has to be topical.
And Johnny Rizzo, you're going to be working in Connecticut over the week. too.
Yeah.
So people want to see
Yeah.
anything about Johnny Rizzo, they go to your website.
Yeah.
Or Steven.
StevenScott.tv. I'll be in Nagatalk this weekend. I'm in New York City playing the clubs there. It's got all my
Headlining
dates. So Steven with a V, not a PH, because that would be Step 10, and I'm a Steven.
And of course, we have Ellen Steinbeck, who performs.
Ella, E-L-L-A, Steinbeck, like the author, .com, and you can find me on Facebook too.
This is a
But leave
great-
me a note because I don't friend just anybody.
Yeah.
And she does refer
And
people.
Twitter.
I
Yeah,
hate
Twitter. we have
No,
Twitter.
I don't tweet.
Do you hate technology?
Steven Scott LOL on Twitter. I don't.
Do you guys hate technology?
Oh, yeah.
I tweeted for a while and then I gave up.
Do you have a
on it.
love-hate or do you love technology?
I live in the desert, in the middle of the desert, so I
Yeah.
have no technology.
Love, hate,
And
mostly
we live
hate.
here at Comedy and More. So I want to thank everybody else, the stars of the show.
That's it.
Ella Steinbeck, model extraordinaire. Even though she said no, she's a model
And
extraordinaire.
pig farmer.
Pig farmer, yes.
Steven Scott. Steven with an N. And of course, Johnny Rizzo, Connecticut's top-rated comic. Thank you very much for watching Comedy and More. I'm Richie Gold, your host. See you
Richie.
next time.